Hello everyone, this is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane, and we're on our second class on regarding the Sacral Chakra. So this chakra is second above the root chakra. It's just below the navel. It's the area that's associated with our creativity, our sexuality, our sensuality, our emotions. It's very much, I feel like the root chakra and the sacral chakra are a little bit, I would say, good buddies, good mates. Obviously it makes sense, they're very close together, but they share many of the same organs. And they also are very much, they're both very close to or connected to the material world. They're our survival mechanisms or survival parts of ourselves. The sacral chakra is really it kind of takes us a level up from survival into more creation, even though there's the creation of children, having our own children and passing on our genes, but also just creation in general. And humans are creative beings. We wouldn't be where we are without being creative. Creativity in all realms of life. We're just creative. We think outside boxes. We come up with, medicines. There's surgeons. Some of us are, whatever we do in our life, it's a creative process. So what we're doing today is continuing with the focus on our hip flexors, but a little bit slightly different in terms of beginning to concentrate on strengthening the glute muscles. That's something towards the end we'll be doing. So it'll be a very interesting class to kind of come to terms with, what's going on down there. Is it a little bit unbalanced? Is there a blockage? How we know if there's a blockage is in life itself. Our creativity might be stunted, or we're not find ourselves very creative. We're struggling with our sexuality. We might be having trouble, with a partner. We might have a lot of emotional ups and downs. So there's a lot of things that could be happening that that are signifying that there's a blockage or there's an imbalance there. So how we go about changing it is yoga is one of the best ways. It's actually partially created to align the chakras, to move the energy around. That's the purpose behind this yoga itself. But it's also there's things like what you eat, what you ingest, things that are orangey. Oranges are very good for this particular chakra. The color is orange, so oranges, sweet potatoes, anything root that's any kind of root vegetable is extremely good, and that's also great for our root chakra as well. So there's little things I'll add on along the way. But for right now, we're going to do a yoga practice to help kind of become in tune with that sacral chakra, but also maybe doing some unblocking of it. Let's kind of sit up nice and tall. Let's just, the very first few moments, connect to the earth with the root chakra. Reconnect to that chakra we always come home to, the root chakra. We start from there. We ground ourselves. We feel this connection to the earth, to our mats. And then as we do that, we start to lengthen up as we feel that we're safe and we're stable. And now we can start to move into the breathing. So that's just simply watch the breath for a few moments and observe what quality of breath you are experiencing right now. Is it kind of stuck in the chest? Is it stuck somewhere in your body? Is it even flowing? So think about the pelvic bowl as a bowl, which is holding water. And we're going to do a little bit of a rocking, rolling of the pelvis. So let's just gently open our eyes, and we're going to come onto our hands and knees and press into a child's pose. Let yourself settle down for just a few breaths. Allow the knees to open wide, knees and touching your toes together. Forehead resting on the ground. Arms reaching forward, but the elbows are resting as well. So keep your arms on the earth. Keep your shins on the earth, the tops of the feet. Feel that connection. And the forehead. And let the breath begin to flow through the chakras. So imagine the breath flowing from the base of your spine all the way up to the crown of your head. With the inhalation and with the exhalation, let the breath begin to flow downwards. As if you're washing out the spine, clearing it out. Just a few breaths here. And then we're going to inhale, come into your tabletop. And before we're doing a cat and cow, but a 3-part cat and cow. And we will first start with the pelvis. So all you're doing here is just rocking the pelvis forward and backwards. So it's a tucking as you exhale, and an inhale, tilt. So just the tailbone, even though you might, if you have a desire, your body probably wants to go right directly into the full cat and cow. Just concentrate on your pelvis. Let your eyes close. Feel that connection to the earth. And I know my body wants to go right into it habitually, into a bigger cat and cow. So it takes discipline. It takes you being in this moment, so you don't start to incorporate the stomach or the lower back or the middle back. So little tucks and tilts. And then what we're going to do, you get to add on the tummy and the middle back, but keep your shoulders and your head allow them to remain still, and just tucking and tilting. And noticing how when you are tilting, your tailbone lifts, your belly softens, and then as you exhale, you draw up through the pelvic floor, which is Mula Bandha, and then pull up through the tummy, which is Uddiyana Bandha, which means that you're locking. Those mean locks, bandhas, and you're locking in the energy that rather than letting it seep out your body, you're locking them in internally. Let's now incorporate the rest of the body, the head, the shoulders. Let's go into our full cats and cows. Let's do 3 sets of these. So things like if you suffer from constipation or diarrhea or things like that, that plays a role in our sacral chakra. If you have urinary tract infections, chronic ones. So these are just a few of the things that you might suffer from, which are associated with this chakra, that there's an imbalance or something's going on. Let's inhale back into your neutral spine, press back into your child's pose. Just take one full breath here, and then slide the hands towards your knees, and let's lift all the way up nice and tall. Hook your thumbs, and as you hook your thumbs, lean back. And if you need support, you can always place your hands on your lower back, but if you could do it with the thumbs hooked, palms facing forward, take an inhale, and then exhale, fold down onto the ground, release the hook, and let's inhale. Just warm up our spine through our cow stretch, and then exhale through the cat. sit back to our heels, re-hook, but maybe with the unfamiliar hook. And then inhale, lift up and opening up the front of the body. And then exhale, let's do 2 more sets. And roll down and inhale through the cow. Exaggerate the movement. Exhale, push up through the belly, pull up through the pelvic floor. Working those, really feeling that, pulling up that engagement. And then lift up, cook the palms, the thumbs, exhaling, rolling down. And one more time, inhale, flow through the cow, exhale through the cat. And this time I want you to lift up without hooking the thumbs, reach your arms up, palms facing one another, and open the arms into a V shape. As you do that, then bring the arms a little bit lower and then swing the arms back until the palms are resting on your sacrum. Squeeze the elbows and push those hips forward as your chest lifts up. So there's an inhale, the belly softens. As you exhale, pull up through the pelvic floor, pull the belly in. And then inhale, soften the tummy. So you might see my tummy popping up. And then pulling. And then forward. And then reach your arms up to the sky. And then let's place the hands on the ground. So making sure you have room behind you. Come into your tabletop. Slide your right foot back, but keep the toes on the ground. Let's do a gentle stretch of the calves of that right leg. Gentle back and forth stretches, the calves and the Achilles tendon. And then take an inhale, coming back to stillness, lift your right leg up and then bend your right leg. So the heel of that right foot is reaching up to the ceiling, then open it out to the side. And then inhaling back to bent knees, the knee is pointing downward, and then re-straighten that right leg and bring it in towards your left, next to your left leg. Then you're going to extend your left leg on the ground, and let's do a little rock and roll on those toes, breathing in and breathing out. So you can tell we're warming up our legs. Let's take an inhale, come back to stillness, lift your left leg up and bend your left knee. Kick the heel up to the ceiling and then open the knee out to the left. And then point that foot up to the ceiling and then extend your leg and then place your left knee next to your right. Just sit back for just a moment, a few little circles of the wrists, and then coming back into your tabletop. So be careful you're not dumping all your weight on the wrists when you're in these positions. Let's inhale. This time just reach your right leg back off the ground. Then we're going to add on to this. Bend your right knee. Kick that heel up to the ceiling. Open that knee out to the side. Now, straighten your right leg out to the right side. Flatten that right foot and then bend your right knee. So you're in a half a squat. And I want you to play here using your creativity. This is you let your body sway or stay still or whatever feels good for you. You might want to straighten and bend. And then let's take an inhale, come back into your tabletop and just bring your right leg back behind you, re-straighten that right leg, and then cross it behind your left leg, but keep the leg straight. And look over towards your right foot. So you're looking over your left shoulder. And you're breathing in and out. You should feel that stretch in the right side of your body. This hip is getting a great workout, and also your lower back. Then take an inhale, and then exhale, bring your right knee next to your left. Just sit back for one full breath. Take a breath in and take a breath out. And then inhale back into your tabletop. Kick your left leg back, lift it off the ground, and then bend your left leg. Kick the heel up to the ceiling and open your left knee out to the side. Now take your left leg, straighten it out to the left side. Come onto that left foot and bend your left knee, half of a squat, and play. Do you want to straighten and bend or stay just bent? Leaning in and pulling away and bending. So releasing all this stuff that we carry in these legs, in these inner, in the hip flexors. And then from here, take your left leg back and reach it back behind you, and then cross it over that right leg. As far over to the right as you can, and then look over your right shoulder towards to the left toes. Breathing it. Deepening that breath, and maybe even squeezing those inner thighs into each other, waking up that pelvic floor. So that's this area of where our sexuality is. So it's a good thing, sending certain blood into that area, and taking an inhale and exhale, bring your left knee back in towards your right, and sit back on your heels. Just take a moment on your heels. And just take your arms and just circle the wrists. Let's inhale, reach your arms up. Let's open the arms again into that victory shape. Then come all the way up. And I'm going to just spin around and take your right hand on that left wrist and stretch over to the right. And then inhale, lift back up. Take your left hand on the right wrist and stretch over to the left. Inhale back up. Take your hands, float them out to the side, spin them back, place them on your lower back, and just gently lean into those hands, at the same time pushing your hips forward, stretching out the tops of those thighs. And then let's come up nice and tall. Back into your tabletop. Curl the toes under, exhale into your extended child's pose, and or stay there or follow me into downward dog. Let's do a few little things, whatever you feel like in this pose, in this downward dog. If you're a peddler of the feet, feel free to do that. That means bending and straightening. Do what feels just right for you. Take a breath in and take a breath out. Now from here, wherever you might be, if you're in the downward dog, press the heels towards the ground. Bring your left foot in towards your right foot. If you're on your hands and knees, step your right foot between your hands. Otherwise, if you follow me, my right leg is lifting up and I'm reaching it towards the ceiling, and I'm stepping it between my hands. And my legs stay exactly how they are. And I'm flattening out that back foot. So I'm in a warrior two position. We might have done this in the first session, but it's a good thing to do again. So, but we're not lifting up. We're keeping our upper body down, and we're walking our hands. So look at your right foot and walk your hands, maybe even in line with that right foot, but on a diagonal towards the left side of the mat. And drop your head. And breathe in, as if you're doing a downward dog, but a warrior two version of it. And press the outer edge of that back foot into the ground, as well as the whole right foot into the ground. Breathing in. And then as you breathe out, walk your hands back to the center between your feet and turn your right toes forward. So now you're straddling your mat. If for whatever reason you feel like you can't see me, so you have to switch positions, then do so. We're staying on just one side. And then from here you're doing a little bend and straighten, just to loosen up those hips. Nothing too elaborate, nothing too strenuous, little wiggles and shakes from side to side. And then from here you're going to bend your left knee and turn your left toes forward, and your right foot, bring it back so it's in line with the middle of that front foot. You're in a warrior two leg position, but you're staying down. Walk your hands on a diagonal, like we did on the other side. And see how far you can go and get a good stretch. Maybe you're on your fingertips. And press into all four corners of each foot. If one comes up, adjust the feet a little bit until you can actually press deeply into those feet, rooting down and stretching out that left hip as well.
So breathing in, softening the shoulders. Make sure that left knee is not beyond the ankle. It's directly over the ankle or slightly behind. And then take an inhale and exhale. Walk your hands back to center. Turn your toes, all toes, 10 toes, slight forward and then slightly in, little pigeon toey. Take a breath in, come onto the fingertips, lifting up halfway, or for some people blocks. And then exhale, let's drop our head down so that it's what you're working towards is getting that crown of the head towards the ground. And spin your fingertips behind you, so they're pointing behind you. And try and see if you can get your head close to between your legs. Maybe you can get it there, maybe not. And don't force it, but just that's the direction we're moving, is between those legs. And just this should feel nice, a nice stretch. Your knees can be soft here, bent, whatever you need to do. And let's take an inhale and exhale. Walk your hands forward and then just spin whatever foot is towards the front of the mat. Spin that forward and turn your whole body towards that front foot and press back into a downward dog. Take a few breaths here, or in your extended child's. Breathing in and out. Let's take an inhale into your plank. Let's take a plank. Knees can come down or up, so you can place them down. But don't just slump down. Use your muscles, use your arms, use your tail. Take your tailbone, tilt it down towards the, extend it down towards your heels. If you're pretty strong here, you find, well, this is pretty easy. You could do a little rock and roll on those toes, forward and backwards. You can do that with the knees down as well. Why not? And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, lower down onto your stomach. Let's slide the hands forward a few inches in front of your chest. Squeeze the elbows in towards each other, peeking at your inner, the eye of your elbows. Are they pointing forward? Take an inhale and exhale. Draw your chest forward. Just take a nice stretch. So as you will feel, your hips are being you're opening up the front of the hips simply by being in this position. And then lower yourself down. And then slide the hands next to the chest. Let's press back into our child's pose. Take a few little wiggles of the hands, shoulders. Let the breath continue to flow in and out. And then walk your hands towards your knees and come onto your right hip. And swing your legs forward. So, let's slide your bottom to your heels. We're going to do a few little tummy, some work on the more of the solar plexus, but we are going to be addressing the sacral chakra just below the belly button. And that's it's very much the hard to reach area when it comes to losing some, if you have a little roll there, it's the hard part is dealing with that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to reach your arms forward. Yeah, I was just trying to remember what I was going to do, but I know now. Take an inhale and exhale. Just lower yourself about halfway. Maybe not even that low. And then lift your right leg up. And you can either keep it bent or straighten it. And then lift back up as you inhale. You can exhale, lean back, and then bend or straighten that left leg. Try and keep it in line with your knees. Knees and knees in line. Inhale up, and then exhale, right leg. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, left leg. Whatever leg you're on. Inhale, lift up, right leg. Inhale, lift up, left leg. So thinking about this little section here that is a real difficult place to target if you're trying to lose some of your tummy. Top is a lot easier than the bottom of your stomach. And then let's take a pause, take an inhale, lift up nice and tall, come up tall, and then exhale, lower yourself down. Come all the way down onto your back.
Hug your knees into your chest. So what we're doing next, we'll be targeting that area and our glute muscles. So little rocks, and then place your feet on the ground. We're going into bridges. But before we do a bridge, I want you to measure out. Let the arms rest next to your sides. Open your feet a little bit wider than your hips and tap the heel to the tip of your middle fingers. That's all you need to do. If you can't get the feet that close, then just as close as you can. Now what we're going to do here, you're going to take a breath in. And we're not coming up yet. You're arching your lower back. So lifting up the lower back and then exhaling, pelvic floor pulls up, belly pulls in, press the lower back into the ground. So think about that little area that we're trying to target. Inhaling, arching your lower back, tummy softens. Then exhale, pelvic floor pulls up, belly pulls in. Okay, the next time you're going to inhale, arch the spine. The next time, pelvic floor pulls up, belly pulls in, and now you're going to start to lift your tailbone off the ground. And you might go a little higher, you might go to your middle back and your upper back, whatever feels right for you. Imagine you have a block between the legs and you're squeezing. You're going to take an inhale, and then as you exhale, you're going to lower down, but just tap your tailbone. As soon as you tap, you're going to inhale, lift. Exhale, tap your tailbone. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap your tailbone. Inhale, lift. Inhale, tap your tailbone. Oh, excuse me, that was exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, tap. And inhale, lift. This time, exhale, lower down. Just for a moment. We're only here for a moment. Bring the feet slightly closer in towards each other. And then now what you're doing, make sure the heels they're still close to your bottom. Take a breath in, arch your back, and then exhale, pelvic floor pulls up, pull the belly in, lift back up. And now you can have an option of keeping both feet on the ground or take your right ankle on your left thigh. Make sure hips are even, that one doesn't drop down. Take an inhale, lift up, and exhale, tap. Inhale, lift, and tap. I'm talking about the tailbone. Inhale, lift. You might want to add your right leg, keep your right leg up. That's the third option. Lift up, inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Place that right ankle on your left thigh, lower down. Hoo, 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 hoo. Then take your right foot off, don't do that yet until we get up. So take a breath in. Arch the spine, exhale, put pelvic floor up, belly pulls in, lift up as high as what's comfortable. You decide here, keep both feet on the ground or the left ankle on your right thigh. Make sure the hips are not tilted, they're even. Take an inhale, lift up, exhale, tap the tailbone. Inhale, lift, exhale, tap. Inhale, lift, exhale, tap. You can add the straight leg, third option. Tap, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale down, inhale up, exhale, left ankle on your right thigh, and let's lower down. Whew. Hug your knees into your chest. That gets your heart rate up, huh? Open the arms out to the sides, let your knees drop to the left. This twist you're going to feel because just by doing that last sequence, we were creating tension in our body by lifting and lowering and lifting and lowering. Now we're releasing and we're squeezing out all that tension, all that energy that we've just accumulated in our bodies. So if you need to exhale a few times through the mouth to release any kind of energy that's in your hips, especially around your hips, lower back. And then inhale the knees back up, give yourself a hug, maybe forehead to your knees. And then open up the arms out to the sides, let your knees drop to the right, turn your gaze to the left. So this should feel pretty nice. So chances are you will feel muscles that you haven't felt in a while, especially lower back, but it's very much your middle back as well. So just out of, if you wake up or you're feeling it later on or tomorrow, 48 hours later, most likely that's what we just did, had an impact. Let's prepare our bodies for our Shavasana. Let ourselves melt into the mat, coming into our final resting pose, closing the eyes, letting your bones and skin and muscles just melt into the ground. Let it all out. Back home again, back to our root chakra, reconnecting to that chakra of safety, stability. As we ventured off into our creativity, into our sexuality, our sensuality, and our emotions, lots of things happening in the sacral chakra. Lots of things come up, might come up for you. Just become aware of them, what's happening. And then as you continue on for the next 2 to 5 minutes, I will come up and sit and seal the practice. So I'll sit in my easy seat to seal the practice for this session. As I bring my hands in front of my heart, so reminding you of why we're doing this. What's the purpose? And the purpose is one of the main things is to understand ourselves better, to understand why we feel certain things, why we're stuck in certain places. So as we move up these chakras, we're not only freeing up tight spots and blocked chakras and whatever we're doing, if anything comes out of it, you're learning about yourself and where you might be struggling, where your life has maybe gotten stuck in itself. Because our chakras are actually our life, are a metaphor for our life. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day or evening, whenever you watch this. Namaste, everyone. This is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane, and I'll see you soon.